Hey guys, McReaps here and welcome back to another episode of McReaps Tutorials. This is part 2 of the how do we record bloody game footage. Reaps, come on, tell me. So it's part 2 of that and we're going to concentrate on OBS in this one. There is a lot to talk about in here, so it might be a longer video. I do apologise. I'll try to be as thorough as I can, but there's going to be a lot of reference material that I used. Check the links down in the description. The first one, before you even start this video, go take a look down in the description for enabling QSync. There's a link there. Go find out if you can enable QSync. If you can, fantastic. If not, don't worry about it. We'll talk about why it's important. It's basically what I use right now, but I'll tell you the other way as well. So go check that out. Go. Okay, people that are back here now, you've either checked and you don't have QSync, or you've checked and you do have QSync. Which, congratulations if you do. You're a winner. Let us take a look now at OBS. We'll start by going to the website. OBSproject.com. Again, links are down in the description as always. Go there, go to download. You can do the official quick start guide and it'll get you up and running with OBS. It'll show you how to update scenes and basically get things up and running. So I'm not going to explain the ins and outs of OBS. This is literally just what I use to record and the settings that I use. It's trying to cut out the pitfalls that I fell into. I went through numerous tutorials, numerous websites, and I tweaked the settings to the way I have them right now. So we're just going to go with that. I will show you how to set up your Twitch, because chances are if you've got OBS, if you're here, you got OBS, you got it to stream games. Because it's the broadcasting software that's free. It's a free version of XSplit, but in my opinion, it's better. Sorry, XSplit. So start off by going to Twitch or wherever it is. Go get your broadcasting key. I can only go on what I know, so Twitch is what I use. I go to dashboard, go to stream key, and then click this little button. It'll show you key. Don't do it when you're live on camera, because somebody will troll the shit out. You get your key, start broadcasting on your behalf, and before you know it, you're getting either shut down by Twitch, best case scenario, or legal action, worst case scenario. Just be careful with the key. Right, that's said and done. OBS is downloaded. You found out if you can use QuickSync or not. You found out how to set up scenes in OBS. Let's open up OBS. Weak. Hey, didn't say go that big. Go half the screen. Be a good lad. Okay. Now, one thing that a lot of people don't know is you can actually have multiple instances of OBS open. But why? Why would you have multiple instances of OBS open, Reaps? Just tell us. I'll tell you, no worries. First of all, I'll show you how. Instead of just clicking, because I've got it pinned to the taskbar because I'm lazy. I don't like icons everywhere, even though I've got quite a few icons on the desktop. Right click on the exec file that you use to open OBS. Go to properties. In here, just put dash multi. And that'll allow you to open multiple instances without the warning that you've already got it open. So we've got the second one open here. Get over there. Incidentally, to do that, to actually split things like full screen, put them down, you just hold your Windows key, push the arrow keys left and right. It'll do that for you. Did I get rid of the other one? Dead. What a joker. Put him there. I don't know why I gave you that little tip. It's probably absolutely useless, but it's good if you're working on one monitor and you want to have, I don't know, a website and your paint program open on the other side. It works with everything. Windows key and arrow keys. Nice little godsend. If you've never used it, you're welcome. Right. So back to the whole question of why would we have two of these open in the first place? There's no reason, right? Well, wrong. There is actually a reason for it. If you don't have any other programs, all you have is OBS. And the chances are there's people out there that only have OBS because one, it's free. Everybody likes free stuff. It does both streaming and local recording, which is great. It records your microphone, great, and it records the audio. Fantastic. Everything in one nice tidy little package, and it's all free. I don't know how many times I can say it's free before you go out and just go get it, because it's free and it's also very good. It's very good at what it does. Get it. Anyway, why have two open? We've still not addressed that question, have we? If you're streaming and you want to have a nice local recording of what you're streaming as well, which a lot of us will do, because you'll either edit it down and upload it to YouTube for the funny moments, or stream highlights that don't look like shit because it's recorded at such a low setting, then you need two of these going. So you'll just set up two profiles. Again, go to OBS, go to the quick start guide. It shows you how to set profiles up and scenes. I'm not going to get into all that because I want to try to keep this under 10 minutes if possible. So we got a couple of profiles. Say you're on your streaming profile, you've got everything set up the way you want to stream, and then you have your local profile on the other one. You can actually just start recording on both. The local is obviously going to record high quality footage to your hard drive, and the streaming profile is just going to stream a lower quality to Twitch. Everybody's a winner. Your viewers on Twitch can see it and it looks good, and you have a nice crystal clear copy to do with what you will edit and upload to YouTube for that to hack up. I'm just going to go into my settings now, and it's going to be the QSync settings. So if you have QSync, fantastic. You've got all your QSync set up from that video down in the description. You can then come and click this lovely dial here to enable QSync. Now this is my settings for my streaming profile. Okay, I use a constant bitrate. It automatically enables CBR padding. Quality balance doesn't matter, you can't actually change it. And I use a custom buffer size. My bitrate is 3500. I have a 20 meg upload, but Twitch kind of gets shit if you go over 4000, I think. Upload. And not only that, a lot of people can't watch it because it's a big commitment for a lot of people to have a 4 meg streaming ability. So you want to try keep this as low as possible, but also in a range where the quality is good. So you're not going to reduce it to, I don't know, 1000, make it look like junk so everybody can watch it, but everybody's watching a pixelated piece of shit. For me, the best settings has been between 3000 and 3500 bitrate. And that's just for me personally. You might have different opinions and you're allowed different opinions, but I've had people say that my stream looks clear on these settings. 160 bitrate, otherwise Twitch starts screaming and it has to start fucking around with your audio, and you don't really want that. Everything else just stay like this. Broadcast settings. Remember where I showed you to grab your stream key? This is where you put it. Pick the closest server to you, apart from Germany, because it's always fucking busy. Obviously, mode set to live stream, your streaming service, all of this is kind of self-explanatory. Automatically save file to stream. Now you can do that if you just want one instance running. Go ahead, hit save to stream to file, but it's going to look like junk once you've edited it and re-encoded it and all that rendered bullshit. It's just going to look garbage. I advise you to open up a second instance and do your local recordings on that. There's no performance hit, funnily enough, like people would think, or like I even thought, having two copies of this running at the same time, surely it's drawing a lot of resources. But simple fact is OBS uses very, very little resources in the first place. And for some reason, when you're streaming and you're encoding, it's the exact same as if you're just streaming or you're just encoding. So just local recording or just streaming has the same impact performance-wise if I'm doing them both together. I'm not sure how or why or what or when, but take my word for it. On my system, the way it is, there's no extra overhead by doing it this way. Your mileage may vary. If it does, I can't help you, unfortunately. Anyway, that's my settings there. Video. Base resolution is the resolution of the games in your monitor. And then I downscale it to 720 at 60 FPS, and I use the Lanxos for the best detail, the best filter. Downscaling it from 1080 to 720 instead of just having a base resolution of 720 actually gives me a clearer picture. And I think it's because of the filter that it's using. It just looks that little bit crisper. And obviously with it being 60 FPS, it's nice and fluid. That's much better in my opinion than streaming at 1080p but 30 FPS. But each to their own. Tweak around with it, play around with it, do what you will. You guys will come up with your own settings. Again, this is just the settings that I use. Audio I never actually touched. Hotkeys, again, set your own hotkeys up the way that you want. That works for me, might not work for you. The advanced, yeah, it's always been normal. I thought this changed for some reason. I use multi-threaded. I'm using a 27K processor. I use best quality because it says best quality in there, so why not, right? The encoding profile, I usually have, like on my local recordings, on every other profile, I've got it set to high, just because everything out there documentation-wise says, hey, set this to high, but Twitch doesn't like it high. So when you're streaming, you want it on main. I'm guessing because it re-encodes it. If it's on high, it just re-encodes it to main. I'm not sure. It's got to go through the encoding process anyway, so I don't know if there's any difference. But to stop OBS saying, hey, there's a warning, just set it to main. Keyframe interval of 2. Again, it stops the Twitch warnings. And you don't really need to use the CFR if it's a streaming profile. CFR is more for if you want to edit the footage later. So like a local recording, you use the CFR. And it lets it play nice with Premiere Pro and Vegas Pro. Okay, everything else is just default. We'll hit apply because we took CFR off. And then in here I've got CQP. Depending on the processor that you have and the quick sync version that you have, you'll have different options here. For me, like the bottom ones are the best quality. From what I understand from the research that I've done. This one is the best one, LAICQ. If you have that, you're laughing. This option will be open then, and lower numbers, better quality. Better quality but higher CPU usage. But since this is just a dedicated using QuickSync, since using QuickSync is a dedicated part of the processor, doesn't really matter how much stress you put on it. Within reason, obviously. You can't just say, hey, fucking do everything and I want it perfect crystal quality, because it's going to bleed over to your CPU. And it's going to bottleneck itself. But anything from, I don't know, maybe 18 to 23 is good. For here, I use 19. So those are my settings for my QuickSync. And those are the same settings that I use for my local recordings. Although instead of using, in fact, I'll show you my local recording settings as well. So my local recording profile is over here, and the advanced, the encoding looks a bit like this. QuickSync again, because I have it. I don't use a constant bitrate. I let it fluctuate, and I let it go to a maximum of 60,000. Now that might seem a bit high, and it fucking is, to be honest. But this is 1080p, 60 FPS. Some games will reach it, like depending on what's going on screen. You want to allow it as much as your hard drives can take. And my hard drive can do 210 megabyte per second, apparently. So I could crank that way up, but the file size will just be huge, and you don't really want a crazy big file size because it just takes longer to render, yada yada. It takes up the space as well. Obviously, you've only got a finite amount of space. So I've got it set to 60,000 kbs or 60 megabytes. And I mean, The Witcher records and it might hit 49,000, 49 megasecond in really busy periods when there's a lot going on. But generally it's idling around like 15 megabytes per second. I crank up the bitrate of the audio to get slightly crisper audio. I don't know if you tell the difference between like 128 and 192. I'm not an audio person at all. Again, these settings, I just put them to kind of the optimal that a lot of different tutorials said, and that works for me. I'm not sure why. Again, I've not looked into every aspect of it. It just works. So I'm not going to break it. I'm not going to look into it. It's all behind the scenes magic in my eyes. It's all voodoo, but it's voodoo that's working for me. In my local recordings, obviously, I only file output, and it goes to my hard drive that isn't the same as where my game is. If you record to the same location that your game is, you're going to get frame stutter every now and again because it'll be reading the game while it's trying to write the recording at the same time. So you'll get a lot of like frame lag. Video, there's no downscaling. We're at 60 FPS and it's just a native 1080p. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, oh, that's not pretty much it, is it? 60 minutes, jeez. No, what if you don't have QSync, Reaps? What if we don't have that? You just forgot about us? No, I've not forgot about you, of course not. Let's have a look. If you don't have QSync, go buy a better processor. Nah, don't buy a better processor. If you don't have QSync, you're actually in luck because the X264 gives you better quality. Now, there's a little caveat with the better quality. The X264 will not use the onboard iGPU that's on the processor. It's not going to use the Intel GPU. It's going to use your CPU because it's very CPU intensive. You can offset it if you have a graphics card that's I think it's higher than 670 or something like that. You have this option available, but the quality is not that great. I've not tweaked it, but the quality is not that great. So CPU intensive, GPU intensive, and then just black magic voodoo goodness. Okay, you probably can get really good quality by using the NVIDIA NVENC, but I've not looked into the settings, so I don't want to say, hey, do this with something I don't know. Google is your friend if you want to use this. Remember, if you got a lot of headroom on your GPU, go with this. Look for the settings on your own. If you've got a really good CPU, but you don't have access to QuickSync for whatever reason, great, go with this. And we just changed the settings slightly. So let me turn that off because we don't want to fuck up that profile. But I do have this one. I have a profile for my old graphics card. Yeah, here we go. So for local recordings, this will actually get you higher quality recordings than using QuickSync, but it is going to eat your CPU to death. So we don't use a constant bitrate. We tell it it's got a maximum bitrate of 1000, but the buffer size is 0. And that kind of circumvents this max bitrate. So it'll basically, if it needs 100 megabytes per second, it'll record 100 megabytes per second. So your bottleneck is either going to be your CPU, or in a lot of people's cases, if the hard drive is on the same, if the game's on the same hard drive, it's going to be a hard drive bottleneck. So to show you the differences, again, there's no downscaling. It's 1080p 60 FPS. This is where it differs. The X264 is CPU based encode. The higher up the list, the less CPU intensive it is, but the worse the quality is. So if you want better quality, head to the bottom of the list, but it is going to be more CPU intensive. I don't advise going any lower than very fast. Encoding profile is set to high. Key interval is 2. You want to use CFR, obviously for local recordings, so you can edit them in the third-party programs. And here's where the magic happens. So you can set a custom encoder setting. Now CRF is, don't know what it stands for, to be honest. I can tell you what it means though. The lower the number, the higher the quality. The higher the number, the worse the quality. If you go, shut up. If you go to here, your quality balance, you can set like a quality. 0 quality is going to look garbage, 10 is the highest. But 10 is the equivalent of having your, shut up, having your CRF set to 22, which isn't that great. It's not great for local recording. It's not bad for Twitch if you just want to like set that as your stream setting, and then it'll do the bitrate for you. But it's not great for local recording. For local recording, I'd advise like 15 to 18. If your CPU is getting absolutely raped, then go to 18. And if it's still bad, then you want to be looking at using the NVENC, probably. But just remember, the lower the number, the higher the quality, but the more CPU intensive it is. But you will end up with a better video at the expense of CPU. So hopefully that has answered everyone's questions. There's guides out there to set all this up. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel with those. I'll link guides down in the description for setting your local scenes up, and hopefully that has given you a little boost into getting your OBS set up. Thanks for watching, guys, and take a look at the next video if you're into DxTory. Bye bye.